You've seen the quote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." It's on mugs, throw pillows, Instagram bios of people who've never read a word of Rumi. And the problem isn't that it's wrong, it's that everyone uses it to mean be positive about your pain. Silver linings, growth mindset, everything happens for a reason. That's not what Rumi was saying. He was writing in 13th century Persia about a specific man who showed up and destroyed his entire life on purpose. Not resilience, annihilation, the deliberate, violent dismantling of the self you've spent your whole life constructing. Rumi was a respected Islamic scholar with thousands of students. Within a year of meeting one man, he'd lost all of it, willingly. Most people put it on a mug because they don't want to know what that actually costs. And the cost was real, documented. It left 30 years of evidence. If you're at 2 a.m. right now and something is breaking, not bending, breaking, this is the version of that quote you need. Konya, 1244. Rumi is 37, and his world is exactly what his father built for him. Thousands of students, a reputation that precedes him across the Islamic world. He lectures, he teaches religious law. He is precisely the man his inheritance prepared him to be. Then Shamsi Tabrizi shows up, a wandering dervish, no school, no standing, no fixed home. He grabs Rumi's books and drops them in a fountain, says, "What's worth more? The knowledge in those pages, or what you're about to learn." Rumi's students watch this happen, a vagrant, they think, disrupting a great man. Within months, Rumi abandons his lectures entirely. He stops teaching. His son, Sultan Walad, later wrote that his father became a man intoxicated, unrecognizable to the people who'd known him his whole life. From the outside, it looked like collapse, because it was. That was the point. The fountain wasn't a metaphor. The books got wet. Something irreplaceable was already gone. Shams didn't stay. That was also the point. He cut Rumi off from his students, destabilized every certainty he held, then vanished twice. The second disappearance was permanent. He may have been killed, possibly by Rumi's own jealous followers. Rumi never confirmed he was dead. He searched for him in Damascus for months, came back empty, wrote, "Why should I seek? I am the same as he. His essence speaks through me." What was left wasn't recovery. The identity Rumi had constructed across 40 years, scholar, teacher, beloved figure, was gone. Not damaged, gone. Sufis call this fana, roughly annihilation, but the vocabulary doesn't capture it. Think of it as every role you play, every story you tell about who you are, every piece of status you've accumulated, stripped. Shams had done his work. What remained wasn't nothing, but it wasn't what he'd been before, and Rumi didn't pretend otherwise. He picked up a pen. The Masnavi, the 6-volume poem Rumi spent the next 30 years writing, opens with a reed flute, cut from the reed bed, crying out. Everyone assumes that's a poem about longing and grief. It is. But Rumi isn't describing the cut as a tragedy. He's describing it as the condition of music. The reed makes sound because it's hollow, because it was torn from what it came from. Before the cut, silence. After the cut, 25,000 verses. Rumi dictated them while spinning, while walking, while weeping. The most widely read poem in human history outside scripture. He didn't write it from wholeness, he wrote it from the opening. And this is what people miss when they put the quote on a mug. You don't go back to the reed bed. The separation is permanent. That's not the obstacle, that's the whole mechanism. The hollow place is where the breath moves through. Whatever's breaking right now, there's a reflex to rebuild fast. Patch it, replace it, get back to who you were before. Rumi didn't do that. He sat with the opening for 30 years, wrote from it, not past it. What he'd built before Shams was competent, respected, finished. What came after was the Masnavi, the Divan-e-Shams, and a tradition of whirling prayer that's still practiced in Konya 8 centuries later. Something that required the wound to exist. You're not being asked to be grateful for this. Rumi wasn't grateful. He spent years writing poems drenched in grief for a man who may have been murdered. But he didn't rush to fill it. He put his mouth to it. The question isn't whether you'll survive. You probably will. The question is what you do with the opening before it closes, before you work so hard to get back to normal that you lose the only thing the breaking was ever going to give you.